Who should defeat every current WWE champion? I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers. Talk about some wrestling, huh?
Yeah, just right after WrestleMania here, right before we get into Backlash here. Some title reigns that maybe shouldn't have ended. Some that maybe they picked the wrong person. We're going to dive deep into all of that.
Yep, we got a lot of new champions coming out of WrestleMania, which means a lot of champions that need to be dethroned at some point down the line. If you like this kind of content, make sure to like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff, share it. But let's get into it. Raw men's tag team, let's start there because really, who the hell cares is my full-on opinion on it. Right now, the New Day are your tag team champions after they pulled off a upset after cheating at WrestleMania over the War Raiders on Raw this week. The War Raiders are now number one contenders again for it, but who should end up dethroning the New Day as men's tag team champions on Raw?
Yeah, so this one, like you said, like kind of is just who really cares. If I had to pick, I would pick American Made, but that's a heel versus a heel, and that's not how they do things. So I'm taking it back. I'm going all the way back to when we did this video, one of our very first videos, and I'm copying that pick and I'm pasting it right into here. Going Alpha Academy.
There you go.
They're over with the crowd, you know, as we saw when we went to Raw. They weren't on Raw. They were on Main Event, which was before Raw.
Yep.
But they're still super over with the crowd. Everybody's cheering for them. You look at the Raw Tag Team division and you're like, well, this is kind of a barren wasteland of picks and teams, and this doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, so why not just give it to them?
Yeah, I had, realistically, I would want the Creeds to win it on Raw. I'd want them to end up winning it. Like you said, we saw them on Main Event because they were in Kansas City this week and they lost clean to the Alpha Babes. So maybe you're onto something more than I am. But in my fantasy booking mind of like, if the New Day are going to carry this down the line and we might have a draft coming. They haven't announced it yet. I would really like the team to beat New Day to be Mello Don't Miz. I would like for the Miz and Mello to get drafted to Raw down the line and then them be the ones to do it, because I think that we saw the Miz he's ready to be fired up and back into the main scene in terms of just being being the Miz. He's back on the promo doing good work, and then Mello's obviously he's ready to do whatever they give him recently. So I would have Mello Don't Miz win it, but that's down the line and not even possible at the moment.
Yeah, not even possible for sure. Like you said, the draft, there's no date set on that, but that's always been a thing. But the draft usually already starts by now.
I know.
So I don't know if we're going to get one this year, but I'd always sign up for that. I like that tag team.
That would suck if we don't get a draft because we have a bunch of people that need moving around. But let's move it on to the SmackDown men's tag team, which these guys, it's a different story. It's freaking awesome. We're coming off of last week's SmackDown TLC Tag Team Championship ladder match where the Street Profits won. That thing was incredible, by the way. If you haven't watched it yet, please go watch it. But who should beat the Street Profits at the end of it?
Yeah, so I have two teams.
Oh,
so I kind of cheated on this one, I guess. So I went with the brand new, I guess, brought up main roster Fraxium. That just kind of makes sense. Maybe they don't end up taking the titles off of the Street Profits. Maybe they just have a, I don't know, best of 3 match where they just put on and they just destroy things because they're awesome. I'm going with the Forgotten Tag Team, though. If I had to pick, I'm going with Pretty Deadly in this one.
Yes, boy.
One of the teams that got left out of the TLC Triple Threat seemed to have a pretty big backing there for a while, and then nothing.
Yeah.
So that's who I'm going to pick here. Does it make a whole lot of sense? Do I have a whole lot of faith in this? No. I do think Street Profits are going to have those titles for a little while. They at least deservedly should. So Fraxium would probably be the more likely out of these two, but I'm still going Pretty Deadly with this one.
Yeah, I ended up having Fraxium on this. I think that they're like primed to be called up and just immediately get a huge push. And that SmackDown Tag Team division is like the division to be pushed in. It's awesome, and they fit in perfectly to where the style of wrestling with all those teams. Mm-hmm. But you're right. You said yes, boys, and I was like, oh yeah, why were they not involved in the TLC ladder match? Like months ago when we were all fantasy booking what Mania was going to look like, it was going to be like a 5-6 way tag team ladder match with the Yes Boys definitely being involved with that. They haven't been there in a few weeks though, I guess, in terms of around the main title scene. I don't know, but that we should swing back around to them. They deserve a run at it, but I'm going to stick to my pick of Fraxium.
Yeah, and Fraxium, I don't know. I also fantasy booked that Nathan Frazier will turn and he'll somehow draft. Maybe will end up on Raw with Seth Rollins. Maybe that's just me running big with ideas. Plus, Fraxium just dropped the NXT tag titles.
Yeah.
So it is interesting, or it would be kind of shocking to me that they drop them, and then let's say like 2 months later they just win the SmackDown ones. I mean, don't get me wrong. If there's a team to do it, it's them. But I would be surprised if they do that.
So just ship them to Raw and have them win those ones. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
We'll stick to the tag team division, though. Last tag team champions that we have here. Women's tag team champions, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez. Who should defeat them and become tag team champs?
Yeah, I think the easy answer would be any NXT women's tag team. I think that's probably the most likely scenario. But I'm going with the one that we said for WrestleMania was potentially going to be a thing, and then they didn't even end up on the card. So I'm going to Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross. We understand the Y6 are going to have this big kind of push supposedly happening. I guess we'll wait and see. We'll wait and find out. Alexa's supposed to be the leader. So with something like that, I could see it happening, especially if Liv does go away for a while. I mean, she is rumored to.
Hollywood.
You could just do something like that real quick. The NXT women's division makes a whole lot of sense, especially with those titles, because you could just have them just all go at it all the time. I would have originally said the Meta Girls, but they just broke up. So that's not going to happen. So that's not going to be my pick anymore. So I'm going Alexa and Nikki.
Well, Liv, I mean, I guess this is going to happen sooner rather than later now because it's rumored that Liv Morgan's going to be missing substantial time with her new Hollywood role, whatever it is. And because of that, I'm looking at tag teams that are happening right here, right now. Meta Girls were on my list, but that's not what I'm going to pick. I am going to pick Roxanne Perez and Julia. Recently became they're starting to like each other a little bit, a little heel action there. Roxanne's been jobbing out to every main carder since she got back, which I get it. That's part of climbing the ladder. That's part of what you do. But I mean, they are primed and already getting big time cheers whenever they come out. I think that they would be the perfect team to do it and do it sooner rather than later so they can immediately start defending them on NXT as well. You can immediately have that flow between both shows. You're defending them everywhere. That means NXT women are getting call outs and brought up and all that good stuff. So I think Roxanne and Julia are primed to be next.
Yeah, I had them originally, that was my very first pick when I wrote that down right away. I was like, that's probably who I'm going to go with. And that is a pretty likely choice. It also does seem that they're kind of gearing some of that towards Io and potentially Rhea, and maybe you end up getting a tag team match there out of that. I don't know, but that's kind of why I decided to not. I kind of held off on it. Maybe that is something further down the line, but just with that whole involvement in Julia rumored to face Rhea at Evolution, I was like, maybe I'll just choose somebody else.
I get it. Mm-hmm. Let's go with one that already has a match here at Backlash coming up. So this could be, this could be happening sooner rather than later as well. Lyra Valkyria, IC champion. She's got a match against Becky Lynch, but the real question is, should Becky Lynch be the one to do it? And if not, who do you got taking the IC title down the line?
Yeah, it's got to be Becky Lynch for me. I feel like the whole heel turn doesn't really make sense if you don't. Kind of like the John Cena thing, right? Not to that level, not to that extent, but the same idea. Like you have her turn heel and you get people that are supposed to boo her, even though people are still cheering her a little bit here. And you get maybe a little bit of a back and forth. Maybe you have Becky end up winning it in the end, and then you have a returning Becky Bayley for that. Maybe that's the route they go. To me, it just seems it's right there in front of you. Like, you don't do it. You wouldn't have done the heel turn if you don't do it. So you got to kind of do it there.
Yep, it's going to be Becky Lynch. She's got to do it for multiple reasons, not just because you got to pay off the heel turn. I do think you got to do that. I'm one of those type of people. But I think it's also like it's a prime moment to have Lyra earn it back. I think that's going to be a big thing here. Can she step up to the plate? We keep talking about it every single time we mention this feud about like we're going to be testing Lyra on the mic. We're going to be testing her in her character, all that good stuff. Raw was a great stepping stone for her. She looked great there. But yeah, I think Becky needs to take it, and then we just have the can Lyra win it back thing.
Yeah. And it is going to be interesting to see how this feud plays out, because I think I do agree that the step on Raw was a step in the right direction, but I also did see a ton of people on both sides. I saw a ton of people on the we're not fans of Lyra. I also saw a ton of people being like, why is Becky already fighting for a title again? And I was just like, brother, oh man. I was like, oh. So even though this might be like a feud that kind of makes sense, people just still might not like it.
Yeah, 100%. Moving on to the other side, though, Women's U.S. champion Zelina Vega beat Chelsea Green last week. She done did it. She won her first title in the WWE. Same night as Aleister Black, her real life husband, came back. So good story there as well. But afterward, then kind of an unseen, no one really saw it coming. Chelsea Green kind of dipped. I guess she's taking a break from the WWE for a little while. She announced it on her social medias, which kind of leaves everybody up in the air here about like who in the world is going to end up beating Zelina Vega. She's probably going to have a longer run because of it, but who do you think is going to be the one to dethrone her?
Yeah, and this is also probably one that you could also just insert NXT call-up of some sort here because why not, right? But I didn't do that here with this one, and I went with a very unpopular pick here.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's who I went with. I went with Charlotte. I went with Charlotte on this one.
Oh, man.
It was more of a, like, obviously I do not want this to happen, but as you said, there's kind of no options. You're kind of running out and you're looking around and you're like, well, I don't really have anything here. Don't really know, do I see Charlotte being like, oh, I'm above that potentially. So maybe we don't even get that. Maybe we don't even get that. But I could see Charlotte some way, somehow coming back being like, oh, well, while I was gone, while I was hurt, they came up with this new title for people that don't have an opportunity, that aren't good enough to get the main title. I could see that kind of being the storyline here. And while I don't know if I would necessarily be a fan of it, I think the back and forth promos would be really good. I think Zelina could hold her own. The in-ring would be there as well. So I'm going with Charlotte on this one. I put Charlotte LOL after that when I wrote it down.
The second you said that, I just imagined like the equivalent of the Brock Lesnar Kofi Kingston match, but for Charlotte Flair and Zelina Vega. Oh my God, it would be over just like that. I don't even know if she'd get out of her robe. For me, I said, you know what? There is a story here that can't be wrapped up in this one loss, and it was the whole Secret Harvest thing. They've been a thorn in Zelina's side the entire time, and I think that we also formed the Secret Harvest to try to get Piper and Alba Fire more over with the crowd. I mean, Piper's had her moments in the past few years, but Alba Fire, I mean, she was on the verge of getting booted not too long ago. So I have Alba Fire actually winning it here. It was a big moment when she showed up. They made that feel big, and she looked great. After that, did she carry the momentum? Not necessarily, but she also never took a step back, in my opinion. She just kind of was right there back in the fold. And I think that this would be a great opportunity to really cement her as a singles competitor, get her doing some good stuff with Zelina Vega. She already looks like a great heel from just how she was acting in the Secret Harvest. So I think they could run a good feud and try to build Alba Fire up. Yeah,
I actually also had them down. I went back and forth between like 3 different options for the tag titles. I think you could potentially pencil them in there as well. I don't really know what to expect because, being the Secret Harvest for Chelsea, that was the whole thing. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of pivot or navigate while Chelsea's off screen. But yeah, you can sign me up. That'd be a good match.
You could also run Piper, have her win it, and then when Chelsea gets back, she immediately wants it back, and then you get like a Kmart Ulafala moment between Chelsea Green and Piper Niven with it.
Yeah. Why not? That sounds a lot better than the Charlotte Flair pick. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'd be much more. I don't know if it sounds better because it was my choice, but I would be more interested to watch it.
Yeah. When I was going through and writing down all my picks for this pod, these were the hardest ones. The men's mid-card titles, the IC and the US title, these were easily the hardest for me to pick here.
I think that women one was the women's United States. I think was the toughest for me.
Just
because I.
Well, the first one here is because I would never want to see the man lose. We got the United States champion. Or no, let's go with this one.
Well, you're just going to... You don't even know which one he's talking about.
We got the Intercontinental champion, Mr. Dirty Dom. He will never lose this title, but I guess for the sake of this video, if he was going to lose, who is he going to lose the title to?
Yeah. It's funny you actually mentioned never because I literally put never
in
my notes. I literally wrote down never and then parentheses. I put Finn. I feel like that's a given. I don't really know how the Judgment Day crumbles apart. I don't know if Dom gets kicked out. I don't know if Finn gets kicked out. One of them is getting kicked out. Don't know who, don't know how. I could see Finn winning that. He also at times talks about like, oh, well, you listen to Finn. Well, then like that never really came to fruition, right? Like everybody listens to Finn, loses. So you think maybe they pivot again. Maybe Finn gets people on his side now that, let's say, Liv's gone, Raquel's gone off TV. Maybe Dom's all by himself. Everybody starts to listen to Finn again. Then Dom loses to Finn. I could just see that happening. And then Dom gets kicked out. Now, it's a sad moment, but I feel like there's no other option other than Finn right now.
I was thinking that, but then in my head, I think Dom's going to beat Finn. I think the story there is going to be him getting over the hurdle of Finn. I don't think Finn's going to ever take the title. So I was sitting there like, okay, well then who gets it down the line? I think it's going to be Braun Breaker again. I think that eventually, whatever this faction is, the Vision is what they were saying a lot on Monday Night Raw, or Evolution 2, or whatever the name is going to end up being. I think that down the line, what do all strong factions in WWE history end up doing? Going for all the gold. And going for all the gold means Braun Breaker being the dog, going after the mid-card title while Seth chases the big boy title, right? So I can see that Braun Breaker getting back in there and really dog walking over our boy Dom, which would be a sad, sad day for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be tragic. I hope that's not the case. Yeah, I mean, that's all the cool factions have it. They're all draped in gold, right? Like you said, if it is going to be Evolution 2.0 or Revolution or the Vision or however you want to call it, like, it just kind of makes sense. But he should never lose the title.
He will never lose the title. Come on now. Never. Men's U.S. Championship. The man has been booked like an absolute savage for the past almost year. Jacob Fatu seems like he will never take a pin on WWE programming, and it's fun watching that type of thing. But eventually down the line, he is going to drop that U.S. Championship. But the question is, who to?
Yeah, I have Drew McIntyre on this one. I think Drew McIntyre, we've kind of talked a little bit about the cloudedness with the main event scene on SmackDown, right? There's nowhere to really go because it's Cena and it's Orton, and he's kind of talked about that as well. And he wants to fight the biggest and the baddest and the toughest, strongest, almost like he wants to fight Bianca Belair. Now that I'm laying out all these ESTs there. So I'm going to go Drew. I'm going to have a one-on-one here, not a fatal four-way. And I think Solo ends up costing Jacob. Now, I think Jacob, or I guess I should say, I think Solo would be the easy answer here. But I think that feud is already going to be so good that I don't think you need the title in there. So I'm going Drew here. Plus, Drew kind of just, it'd be cool to see Drew with some gold again. He kind of deserves some gold of some sort, especially with how good he's been over the last year and a half or so. So go ahead and give me Drew on this one.
I'm in the same vein as you. I said that I don't see him losing this by getting pinned ever. So I think that he's going to lose it via a multi-man match where he doesn't need to get pinned, which is why I think even as close as Backlash, we could have this title get off Jacob Fatu. And what I said was Damian Priest, for the reason that I think they're going to continue for a little bit longer the Drew McIntyre feud. And given that Drew McIntyre already beat Damian Priest at WrestleMania, you give Damian Priest the win here, he gets the U.S. title, and now those two can battle it out for the U.S. title and their final match one-on-one, right? So I have Damian Priest ending up doing it, and then Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa, because Solo's going to get involved here, and we're going to get the I Hate You Solo down the line. That can go be a fight by itself with no belt because it don't need one.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I mean, yours makes sense with the multi-man match. I just kind of want to see just Jacob and Drew in the ring. Does it make any storyline sense? It makes storyline sense to have the multi-person match, but sign me up for a hard-hitting Jacob Fatu Drew McIntyre match.
Kidding me?
Yeah, I'll take that.
I'd be down. Yeah. I'd be like Tamatanga on the outside, right? Tamatanga, right? Women's World Heavyweight Championship. Io Sky. She did the impossible. She beat Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair in a match. She's been killing it. The fans are absolutely loving her. But who should be the one to dethrone Io Sky?
Yeah, we talk a little bit about a wasteland at times. Like, well, you look at that Raw women's roster. You're like, oh boy, there's only really one answer here that kind of makes sense. But I didn't go with that answer this time. I went
before you get on. Read what I put there for everybody.
That's exactly what that says.
It says, "Please no Rhea."
That's which is probably why I went with my pick as well. I went with Asuka. Now I know she's still injured. I know there's rumors about she's working her way back. We don't really know a set date or set time. Everything I've seen is kind of saying post Backlash, so that kind of makes sense to me, especially if you are going to do like a Evolution 2.0, and you can have Roxanne and Julia versus Io and Rhea, kind of give them some more time and give Asuka some more time. But I'm going Asuka here. I feel like that would just be really good, and something I really want to see. As long as it's not Rhea Ripley, I don't really care. The Rhea fatigue is there for me personally. Now, when you go to the events and the music hits, the whole place erupts. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's Rhea, but I would like to see somebody different.
Yeah, just please not Rhea. Let's get away from her in the title for just a little bit, please. I thought about Asuka. I think that when Asuka returns, I think Io is still going to beat her. I think that's going to be like a super crowning moment for Io. I think Io is going to get a long title reign here. Because it's going to be a long title reign, I thought, well, long title reigns are normally ended by people who were built. I think Stephanie Vaquer at the end of the day. We're going to give her months and months and months of work here. She's already as hot as she can be for being somebody on NXT most of the time. Whenever she enters an arena on Raw, it goes crazy like all these people already know her, which is not normal for NXT call-ups a lot of the time, especially for the women. So I think she's red hot and she's already ready. And if you just get her more months on the main card and get her some good feuds, get the NXT title away from her, way down the line, I'm talking about, I think the Io ends up dropping it to Steph, and it's going to be amazing.
Sounds like a biased pick to me.
That's not Primera you're talking about.
That sounds like a biased pick to me.
Oh, she's incredible. She's incredible. He's not on the Steph train yet.
No, I didn't say that.
Not on the Steph train.
I'm not driving it like you are.
I'm driving.
I'm on there. I'm just not driving.
Other side, though, Tiffany Stratton. She did the impossible and beat Charlotte Flair. A lot of people thought that WWE was not going to pull that off at WrestleMania. She now fights Nia Jax, which we all think that she's probably going to just, tie that one off, right? Storyline that needs to be tied off. After that, though, kind of nobody lined up. So who's going to defeat Tiffany Stratton down the line?
Yeah, I think this one's going to be whoever ends up winning Money in the Bank, which sounds weird to have her win the Money in the Bank or win the title from the Money in the Bank, but then also lose it from Money in the Bank. But that's going to be my pick here. I'm going, I cheated on this one as well. I said Naomi or Chelsea Green. Now, I said Chelsea Green because we just mentioned her being off screen, and it's just the gradual progression of her. Maybe she's a surprise entrant into the Money in the Bank, and she ends up winning it. She was so close last year. Her and Tiff kind of have a little bit of history here. I went ahead and said Naomi because Naomi's doing the best character work of her career. It just kind of makes sense. Plus, you can have her kind of elevate from the Jade stuff, take the title. You can wrap Bianca, Jade, and her kind of all intertwined some way, somehow. Maybe Jade challenges Tiffany for the title, and maybe Naomi ends up cashing in the match, something like that, and ends up, screwing Jade out of it or whatever. But I went with those two. Something that I really thought of, I was like, well, it's going to be a new face. It's going to be a new challenger. It's not going to be Charlotte. It's not going to be Nia. So that's a really good thing. Really don't have a gripe with whoever they decide to pick here.
Yeah, if I booked it myself, I would want Naomi to win it. I think that she's doing phenomenal work. But the problem there is I think that there's still going to be a lot of time wrapped up in this Jade Bianca stuff for her. I really do. And the rumors are about some Alexa Bliss, Wyatt Six-led faction coming back at some point. So I think that really all signs are going to point to that. I think that when they make their re-debut and Alexa's at the lead, people are going to love seeing Alexa back for one. She's going to be immediately at the top of people's cheering list. But they're going to want her to look very strong. And I think giving her the belt will be their to-do list there. Now, does Tiffany end up getting it back and they're feuding for a while? Maybe. But that's what I think they're going to do. That doesn't sound necessarily interesting to me. I don't really want to see that because I'm kind of sold my stock on the Wyatt Six stuff, but that's what I think they're going to do. I would like for it to be Naomi though.
Yeah. When you said that, I kind of made a face because not that I have anything against Alexa. It's just the involvement of everybody else. Yeah. I don't want the women's title to be kind of clouded around all the other stuff, but who knows?
I also think Tiffany would do awful with the Wyatt Six. I'm not going to lie about it. Like that serious horror vibe. I don't know, man. I don't know. The two big ones, though.
Two big ones.
Men's World Heavyweight Champion, Yeet Mania himself, Jey Uso. He's fighting Logan Paul at Backlash. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Woohoo. Mm-hmm. That's one thing to talk about, I guess. But I don't foresee him losing to Logan Paul. Let's put it that way. So I think Jay's going to have himself a long-ish title run, but who's going to end up being the guy that puts him down?
Yeah, I feel like this one's probably the most obvious one on the list. This one's going to be Seth Rollins. You don't have Seth Rollins do the heel turn. You don't have him defeat Punk and Roman, have the wise man on his side, be the revolutionary again, have him be the leader of this brand new faction, the future, the vision of the WWE, and have him not win gold. So this one's pretty easy to me. We saw it especially while we were there. As much as these guys are heels, everybody's cheering them. Like they're the badass faction that everybody wants to root for. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. And there just makes a whole lot of sense there with Jay. Well, Jay's got history with Braun and him and Jay and Seth and then Paul and Jay. Like all of it just makes sense. You could have originally said Sami Zayn, I think. I I guess it would have been before Raw. But with Rollins and Braun taking him out, not going to be Sami.
This one has to be Seth Rollins. I mean, that whole payoff is going to be them draped in gold at some point, I assume. That's what all big factions do in WWE history. And like you said, they're going to be the most over faction right away. I mean, there wasn't a boo in that stadium that we were in when on Monday when they were destroying Sami Zayn. Like, you're not going to get anybody to boo him. And Jey Uso is obviously extremely over. But eventually, there's just going to be so much great storytelling wrapped up in the Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman, whatever group that it's going to be like, okay, this is obvious. Give them the belt. They need to be reigning over the WWE, and we need to be seeing that. And who's going to be the one to defeat the Evil Alliance? It's the classic WWE faction story that we all come to know and love. Seth Rollins is going to be the one to dethrone Jey Uso.
Absolutely.
Last one, though. Big one. John won 17 at WrestleMania. And, ever since John announced his farewell tour, it was basically, he's going to get 17. He's going to get 17. But now we have this whole extra layer of story of like, not only does he have 17, but he's trying to leave with the title. He's going to retire with the title. He's got 20-something dates or whatever it is. Somebody's going to have to stop him from doing that because we're not leaving our championship going to John Cena's house. Who's going to be the one to dethrone Mr. John Cena?
Maybe they do every appearance that John makes. I'm like, you're buying me in a little bit. Like, maybe it wouldn't be so bad. This one, I mean, my heart says Randy at Backlash would be really cool, but I don't think that's happening. So you're going to push it out. You're going to look at the bigger dates, the bigger events, maybe a SummerSlam. I think you're going to have to end up running him and Cody Rhodes back. I'm picking Cody Rhodes. The story of Cody Rhodes being the ultimate babyface and like against the ultimate bad guy heel John Cena at Mania, you could tell the crowd was really, really behind him. Now, does this happen at SummerSlam? I don't know. That would be my pick, but I think you have Roman and Punk kind of tied up in their thing, so that's not going to happen there. You got Rollins tied up in whatever he wants to do, maybe Jey Uso. And so you look at it, it's like, you know what? The ultimate babyface, the like passing of the torch, for lack of a better term, is going to be back to Cody Rhodes, I think. I also think it kind of gets hinted at when he talks about Orton's family, like Orton's a third generation superstar. Like he talks about like, well, your family would be nothing without wrestling. And I'm taking that like, well, Randy even mentions Cody in the promo, like as well. Obviously, everybody knows who Cody's dad is, Dusty Rhodes. If you didn't know that. So I think we're just going to be Cody. And I think Cody's going to have a little bit of like a revenge tour, babyface revenge tour. So sign me up for that.
I think we go the entire year, the rest of the farewell tour of John Cena just skating by, getting cheap, crappy wins, and everybody's going to hate it, and he's going to be ruining wrestling. That's going to be the whole story, and it's going to be great for me because I'm a Cena fan. But at the end of the day, I think that on his very last appearance, on his farewell tour, whatever they call that unannounced PLE that it's going to take place at, I think Cody Rhodes saves the WWE. He's the ultimate babyface. It's the ultimate passing of the torch from John Cena to Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes saves the day. He dethrones John Cena, and the evil heel John Cena is never seen again. That's how it's going to end, and it's going to be perfect. It's really going to be perfect.
So you have it just happening at the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't think we ever see happy Cena again until the moment he's pinned. When he's pinned at that last event, I think he gets up, they shakes his hand, hugs him, and then the kayfabe is turned off, and you get the celebration and the waving and everything. But I don't foresee John Cena being face John Cena ever again in WWE this year.
Interesting.
So
that's real interesting.
Those are our picks for who's going to dethrone every current WWE champion. In the chat or in the comment section, let us know what your guys' picks are for every single one of them, because we absolutely love hearing what you guys say. And then also tune into our live streams, SmackDown, Raw, and PLEs on youtube.com/@CODWrestlePod. You know the deal. And for everything else, @CODWrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. We have a link tree in our bio. It's got absolutely everything there. So go like, follow, subscribe, share all of our content from all of our socials. We would love you for it so much. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast, and we will see you next time.